Analyst Jim Delatoso has some new findings to show Welsh.
Let's go back and look at this picture again and get some information about the edges. I've discovered this interesting program for measuring the edges of things and comparing it to all the other edges in the pictures.
Based on the relationship of those edges?
The width of the edges and the properties in the edges. So we're stretching the data in the edges so we can count how many pixels wide it is. And it's very interesting what happens when you stretch them out, because it becomes very clear. Pixels, these little squares, like building blocks, and pretty easy to count. So this one ranges from 5 to 7 pixels wide, this edge. So we have our range here is from 6 to 8. Now what this tells us in looking at all of the edges on the object is, first of all, that it's not a flat piece of plywood hung in the air, or it's not a paste up that was done. It actually has shape to it. And in this case, a very wide range, which has to do with focus. Some of the object is more in focus than other parts of the object, which tells me right off at that point that we're dealing with something of size to it.
There are new photos too, and more film. In some, the beam ship hovers by a tree. Meier says they use trees as a kind of magnetic ground. 2 or more ships in the same shot are almost unheard of in UFO photos. Meier has dozens of such pictures. Ships below a horizon line, such as a hill, are even rarer. In this photo, a Variation 2 ship controls a smaller unmanned drone ship, designated as Variation 5. In one demonstration, a Variation 3 ship exhibits a behavior Stevens has seen before.
We have often reported a nipping flight. We also have a wobbling flight, where it wobbles around a vertical axis.
The bobbing effect, Meier explains, is due to the ship riding the waves of the Earth's magnetic field, much as a boat on the ocean.
What size is that ship, Billy?
They told me it's 7 meters.
One of the most frequent spots for the contacts is Obersadeleg, a wide valley just 10 minutes from the farm at Schmidruti. Here, Meier took one of his most spectacular series of photographs.
Between both roads. And you can see here these lighty trees here. That's there up. And here on the left side, this hill. What's happened there behind. And the trees here down. That one there. Yeah.
Okay, then where did this come in?
This picture I took there. If you go left side a little bit, here, if you go down, like this way here.
The beam ship stayed in the area for almost 20 minutes, flying slowly, often skimming the treetops, sometimes just hovering in place.
And the ship was a little behind them when I took this picture. And just now, the trees are growing up in the last months. They are about 1.5 or 2 meters higher than at that time when I took this picture.
Then where did it move?
It left that place to the left side.
Something like...
Yeah.
Like this.
And then it was moving over there. You see here the small tree where it's happened there. And this one, that's that there.
Did it come across in front of the trees like this?
Yes, yes. And you can see there behind left side of this one, this tree, the higher one there.
Yeah.
And after this picture, I got the other one to that position there.
Further over?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I think we got another one in here now.
Yeah.
One in between there, right?
I had to go back a little bit, there down, and from there I took the picture. That's the tree there down, what you can see.
The investigators are impressed by the vastness of the valley. the steep drops and the obvious difficulty of hanging models from anywhere to fake the pictures. The stunning clarity of the pictures and the accessibility of the site gives the investigators the chance to put the photos through another test.
Billy, we're using this to measure distance. It's the latest in infrared measuring devices. Yes. It's actually a small computer. It's made by Wild Heerbrot here in Switzerland. And what we're trying to do here, Lee is up there with the reflector. Yep. And what this will do is send infrared light out and reflect out of that reflector back here. And this will rapidly tell us the distance and will also tell us how much higher or lower he is.
That's about where you're standing, right there.
Mm-hmm. That's right, the place, yes.
Okay, we'll go to on systems.
The precise measurements and photos are fed into the computer. The edges of known objects, such as the trees and the hills, are translated into pixels. Since these measurements are known, the number of pixels in the edge of the unknown object, the craft, gives its distance. The beam ship is determined to be just where Meier said it was. Simple triangulation then gives its size. 7 meters, or about 21 feet in diameter.
Billy, how many sightings?
By now, the investigators have made over a dozen trips to Switzerland. The case takes up more and more of their time and taxes their ingenuity. Each test leads to another, and every result is double and triple checked. To test the possibility that the Meier photographs were made using small-scale models suspended by transparent monofilament, the investigators bring with them a detailed model of a beam ship they identify as Variation 2. While Welsh flies the model on a hilltop above the farmhouse, Meier and Stephen snap several rolls of film. The camera Meier is using is the same one with which he took all the other pictures. The results are impressive. To the naked eye, some of the photos appear genuine.
Those photographs, they're interesting. They look pretty good. Pretty good.
I saw one difference in them, and that was that those models look white. They don't reflect that silver gleam like the pictures that Billy had.
You want to look at the focus in them,
Hey,
Dave.
hi guys. What's
Hey,
what are
hi.
you talking about?
The pictures.
Oh, yeah. Some of them looked pretty bad, but some of them looked pretty good. I think we ought to test them.
Pictures of the model are not all that good. In the pictures where he focused on the model, the horizon is out of focus. Where he focused on the horizon, the model is out.
We should put them in there for comparative testing under computer analysis. We've got to have that comparison.
So when we look at models, there's a variety of things that are different. That object right there is solid. It's one solid color. There's very little contour in it compared to other objects that are in the photograph. There's no contour to the object. Mm-hmm. Remember when we looked at the other photographs that were taken by Meier, the width of the edges ranged from 4 to 9. Mm-hmm. Point of the story. This is a small model. It's easy to tell small models.
Well, we tested that fighter sequence, and that came out pretty good. We didn't find any strings in there.
And when we got through blowing it up in the computer, we had the outline of the Mirage fighter, everything.
Estamos presentando Billy Meier, toda la historia.
The incident occurred at Schmarbühl. Meier claims the jet made 22 passes at the beam ship. Computer analysis using the information from a known object, the Mirage fighter, shows again that the beam ship is the size and distance Meier claims. Much of Meier's film has been lost or stolen, but the remaining sequences are, as promised, the most astonishing ever released. In one demonstration, the beam ship flies around a tree, which can be seen to sway in the backwash. Once again, in slow motion. Even slower. Later, Semyasi brings a new beam ship to pose for Meier's cameras. A variation quite unlike anything he has seen before. She explains, as best he can understand it, the function of the spheres for propulsion of the craft in interstellar travel. The sound of the new beam ship shows marked differences to the sounds of the other variation craft. Meier tapes these as well. The tapes are taken to electronics consultant Niels Rognerud and sound engineer Steve Ambrose for examination.
The frequency components of the signal.
Yeah, what does this mean when they're all together like that?
What you have is you have many tones happening at the same time, and right now they're aligned. Now they're disaligning. They're out of alignment. They're very much out of alignment. Now they're starting to centralize on one.
It's not as though maybe before you had 10 different frequencies at random, and then all of a sudden 9 dropped out and you only had 1 left. What's happening is the 10 different frequencies are converging on one central frequency, which is, I find, very interesting. This is probably one of the most interesting things about the tape, is that there are...
What's this right now?
Very, very many tones.
Yeah.
And they're all changing very fast.
For a moment there, we were looking in and we had 3 evenly spaced frequencies. See it there again?
Yeah, you got me again.
Yeah.
Niels, would it be possible to recreate this sound?
To be honest with you, I personally don't think so. There are not synthesizers on the market that have oscillators that change that randomly. Even if you got 9 or 10 of them going, they wouldn't change from those peaks that quickly.
So a significant thing is this rate of change.
Well, and besides, if you were going to create a noise for a spaceship, you'd be hard put to come up with something as original as this. There's another alignment there.
The team had shown the Meier material to a variety of experts in an attempt to learn if any of it could be duplicated. They estimated it would require expertise in at least a dozen different fields, including metallurgy, astronomy, ancient history, and psychology. The panel concluded it would take over 10,000 man-hours and cost in excess of $1 million to duplicate the evidence Meier has. At that, the computer could still spot any fabrication.
When we bought this center here, it was a picture like at the World War II end, and when we bought it, nobody of us had any money. We was working practically day and night for several years, many times 22, 23 hours a day. And so we built it up, everything here up on the land, and so it grows slowly, but it's all real, our handwork.
While the contacts continue, life on the farm proceeds at an even more hectic pace. To help free Meier, volunteers take on a lot of the routine work. But their very presence, their questions, even their enthusiasm create as much strain as they relieve.
The last 20 or 30 years, there was many people who have seen UFOs. There are many people around the world who likes sensation only. Other one who are doing hoax to get money, maybe to get a name. But there are really many contacts and many people who have seen UFOs.
Between his work for the Pleiadians and the demand for his attention on the farm, Meier finds little respite. For moments of precious solitude, he retreats to the land he knows.
Above everything stands one force alone. We call it the creation. It regulates the laws over all, the life and death of everything in the universe, because it is everything in the universe. Real spirituality comes from the understanding of the laws of nature, the natural working of cause and effect, each contributing to and sharing with all. When you indulge in ritual and ceremony, real spirit pines away until it is gone. A spiritually developed being acknowledges creation in all things, from the largest to the smallest. Following this way, fears and doubts vanish like rain before the sun.
The story is by now a sensation in the European press. Every major magazine features Meier and his photos. Television coverage from as far away as Japan spreads the message to a public hungry for even more information. The quiet farm is suddenly a mecca, inundated with visitors eager to meet Meier, see the photos, hear his experiences firsthand.
Agapula, fame exo. Atema in exo, mi laime optis.
But Meier cannot refuse anyone. It is the promise he made to Semyasi.
You have whole organizations which investigate our beam ships, but they have little material which is really authentic. However, the authorities already know much about our existence, but they continue to deny the fact of our existence, or even the fact of their research. They want only to rule the cosmos, but they are not even able to create on Earth peace among themselves.
Many of those who come seek answers, assurance, even the promise that someone or something will save us.
If we want peace and knowledge and love and everything here on earth, we have to change everything by ourselves as human beings from this earth.